Hey, my name is Dexter Donnell, the real estate guy.
And I'm Lyric Donnell.
Hey, how you guys doing today? We're coming from Tempe, Arizona, and today what we want to do is we want to talk about some of the things that's going on in the real estate industry. I guess a lot of people know right now there's kind of a NAR thing going on that's basically being set up where no longer that you have the seller that's required, as they say, to pay the commission, which actually wasn't required, and we'll kind of get into details on that. But now the whole industry has changed a little bit based on the buyer's broker's agreement that will have to be utilized whenever a deal is done, meaning when you have or a buyer agent has a buyer. So we want to kind of go into that and try to ease people's mind a little bit on how that works, and we'll kind of talk about that kind of in a series because this may take a little longer than what we have here.
It's a lot of information to cover.
Yeah. Tons of information to cover, and we want to make sure that we hit all cylinders. And also keep in mind too, nothing has been settled, meaning the court hasn't come back and settled it, okay? Meaning that it's not what we consider law, okay? So it's kind of something that has already went through the courts, and I guess it has to be signed off on. Okay, so we want to talk about that, but before we do that, we want to do some housekeeping real quick. If you guys want to go over to Donnell 40 Acres, that's our Instagram, that's Donnell 40 Acres, and what you want to do is when you get in there, go hit Linktree, and you'll be able to kind of see more about us and what we're doing right now. So again, that's Donnell 40 Acres, that's our Instagram, okay? Going to that and connect with Linktree and kind of browse around in that and see what's going on. And also too, if you're looking to sell your home or if you're looking to buy a home, you can connect with us. You can either give us a call or you can actually go in and you can email us as well, and we'll definitely help you do that. Okay, so want to get it started, and you want to go ahead and start it? Do you want me to talk about it?
I think you should take it away.
Okay.
But I think I want to highlight that
Okay.
A lot of agents, they are kind of scared right now. Do you think they should be scared of what's going on?
No, not really. I don't think they should be. I think right now there's a lot of misinformation, that's going on about what the buyer agent does and what the buyer agent doesn't do, and what the listing agent does, okay, and what the listing agent doesn't do. As we all know, I mean, whether you're listing the property or whether you're the buyer's agent bringing a buyer, it's still a task. I mean, there's nothing easy about getting the whole thing closed. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, everybody has a job. The listing agent has a job to do, and also the buyer's agent has a job to do. So anyone that's out there, trying to get their property listed, you have to realize, that whenever the actual property is put on the MLS, which is a great place to be, I think it's probably one of the best places to be in order to get your property seen, okay? But not only seen, but sold, okay? I mean, you have, thousands of agents, that are on there, and they're looking, and so if they see something, that their qualified buyer wants, and remember I said qualified buyer, because if they're not qualified, then therefore they can look at your house all day, but it doesn't really mean that they're going to be able to buy your house. So that's one thing that the buyer agent does. They want to make sure that the buyer is qualified. So you got to realize whenever someone brings a buyer into fold, okay, you have to realize there's a lot of working parts, that are going on in order to get that deal closed, okay? Because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that the buyer gets their property, and at the same time, the seller is able to sell their property and move on, to their next house, or maybe, to their next destination, whatever that will be. So we all work together. I mean, this is not a thing where the listing agents are against the buyer's agents. It's not like that at all, because one needs the other. We have to have each other. Now, I know that you have what we call anecdotal deals, or off deals. And I know where is that, you may have the seller that may go in, the listing agent that may go in, and they may do kind of like a dual agency, where they'll go in and they'll, find the buyer and the seller. That happens, too. But in most cases, 97% of deals are done through a co-broke. And when you hear co-broke, what that basically means is that you have another agent, that has a buyer that is brought into the fold, okay, in order to make it happen, okay? So again, you can work, the listing agent, you can say, well, you really don't want to, pay a commission to the buyer's agent. You could say that, and that's fine. I mean, that's in the contract. That's always been in the contract. That has never changed. It has never not been in the contract. But yeah, the listing agent is going to sit down with you, and the listing agent is going to tell you what they're worth based on telling you how to get it sold. And in most cases, they're going to need help in order to move that property. And this is where the buyer agent comes into the fold, okay? So you do have to realize that if you're not utilizing that buyer agent, your property most likely may stay on the market longer, okay? Because now what you're doing is you're putting the listing agent in a situation where now they have to be both, and you got to realize we're talking about two different entities. You have the listing agent that actually markets, right? They actually have their own marketing, okay? Then you also have the buyer agents, right, that have their own marketing. Okay, so one side brings the buyers, which they've spent a lot of money to do this, to make sure they qualify to buy your house, right? But then you have the listing agent, right, that's done their marketing, right, to bring in the seller, in order to sell the house to the buyer.
Yeah.
So it always works together, and has always have worked together.
Yeah.
Okay, so we always got to keep that in mind at all times. Okay, we have to keep that in mind, but we also have to keep in mind too that we are looking at, the law, right? We are looking at the NRA. We are looking at, the lawsuit, and there's buyer agent agreements, that we have as well, meaning the buyer, which we've always had the buyer agent agreement, but most buyer agents always, looked at the co-broke, okay, because the listing agent had already set the co-broke, meaning the amount that the buyer agent was going to get, or the buyer broker was going to get. It's already set. Whenever they look at the properties, they show the buyer the property, that co-broke is already set. That's not something that the buyer agent has ever negotiated. It's already done. By the time they show you the house, it's already set, okay? So you didn't have to utilize a buyer-broker agreement, at that point, because it's already done. But now, one of the requirements is that in order to do business with the buyer agent, you have to, sign that agreement. Now, if you don't sign the agreement, most likely, the buyer agent is probably not going to work with you. And not because they don't want to work with you, is because that they have to make sure, that they're compensated, for the work that they do. Okay, and I believe that everyone should get compensated, for the work that they do. Like I said, again, I've been on both sides, and I know dealing with the buyer side, it's a lot of work. It's tons of work. There's a lot of steps that you have to go through to hold it up. You're dealing with the escrows, you're dealing with the LOs, which is the loan officers, making sure, that the buyer has all of the paperwork that is needed, right? Also, you're dealing with all of the different contingencies, all the different things that needs to be done in order for the deal to close. Okay. Plus, also too, there's certain things that need to be met in order to walk through the full escrow. For example, you have inspections. Okay, so the inspection has to be done before a certain period of time. If that inspection is not done, then therefore the buyer loses that inspection period. So if something is wrong with the house, then it's going to be too late. So therefore they may lose their deposit. So there's a lot of things in that contract. That's why a buyer agent is needed. They need to be with that buyer in order to walk them through those different things that need to be done, so that therefore you're protected. Kind of like the listing agent. The listing agent is protecting their seller. They're not protecting the buyer at all. Meaning that if you go to a house and if you're dealing with a listing agent, they're not protecting you. Their job is not to protect you. They haven't signed an agreement with you. Now, if they do sign an agreement with you, then therefore, guess what? They're going to want compensation. That's just the way that it works. And then you're going to also see, buyer agents also that's going to have to set it up where you have to pay a certain amount of compensation at close. Now, there's other ways that you can work through this, where you can, you have concessions. A lot of the listing agents may just, themselves write up, agreement, where, they'll pay the commission. The only thing is that now the commission won't be on the MLS. Okay, it'll be something that is negotiated between the listing agent and the buyer broker now. Normally it was a co-broke. You could see it, but now it's not there. So it has to be negotiated. Okay. Now me, as far as listing something, I'm going to always have a co-broke, because I believe and I understand what it takes, for a buyer agent to do what they need to do. I already know what that is. I don't have to be convinced. I don't have to be convinced. I already know what it is. And if you're in the business, you know what it takes in order to get it closed. Okay. So I think when it comes down to the buyer side, just get prepared. You have to get prepared. You have to understand that there's other agreements that has to be filled out. Okay. We have to be able to fill these agreements out in order to protect you. But at the same time, we have to be honest. We also have to fill it out just to make sure that your buyer agent is also compensated, for the work that they do. And I think that's very vital. Yeah. Do you want to add to
I
this?
think that's huge. Anything good, you want to expect to pay money for it. Things that come free or cheaper aren't always the best option. You want to obviously work with a realtor you trust, and you want to make sure they're getting compensated for it. Nothing's for free.
Like I said, real estate, it's one of those things where, this is, you're making a big decision, okay? So you want to make sure that that decision that you make is not going to cause you problems in the future. This is why it's very important you need to be represented as a buyer. As the listing agent will represent the seller, it's the same. You have to be represented. Now, if you're not, then you may run into problems later on. So you want to keep that in mind at all times. Now, I know that they pushed the ruling back. Again, I was looking at one of the emails that I got from the NAR, and they basically had pushed it. Well, it was supposed to be in July, but it looks like that they're continuously pushing it. Somewhere, it looked like I kind of saw it even pushed out to November.
I saw that,
I was reading that. I was like, okay, so I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to make sure that this thing doesn't explode and, it doesn't do anything that's going to cause more issue. Okay. So then I can understand that because, you want to make sure that everything is done properly. But keep in mind right now, it's business as usual. Okay. Nothing has changed right now. It's, like I said, it's business as usual. When we talk to a buyer or seller, our job is to make sure that we fulfill the needs that you need, with your property that you're trying to sell, or with the house, or with the house that you're trying to purchase.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that it's a smooth transition for you. Not saying always it is a smooth transition, but
there's no perfect situation or scenario.
Exactly. So we want to make it as easy as possible for you. Okay, and this is why we're here, to smooth all the the lumps and the bumps out, right? So basically, what we'll do is we'll come back again, and we'll talk a little further. When we get a little further information on what's going on. This is the time to buy. I always say it's always a time to buy. People worry about the market. Don't worry about the market. You're going to be in the house for 30, 40, whatever years. So market goes into ups and downs all the time. Interest rates, they kind of float up and down, and things like that. So don't get caught up in all the hype, right?
And buyers, most of the time they just hold out, but they don't know what they're holding out for.
There's
go. No perfect storm. You just have to jump into it.
That's right. You just have to jump into it. You have to get your house. Get your house. Get some ownership, all right? Get something that you control, that's yours, that you can make decisions on, right? So don't wait. If you got the money, you got the credit, the time is now. Okay. So again, what I want to say, hey, thank you for listening to us. And also, thank you for coming out.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Definitely. And again, you guys can check us out at Donnell 40 Acres. That's Donnell 40 Acres. That's actually our Instagram. You can go in there and look for Linktree. Go into Linktree and kind of look around and see what's going on.
We have different options listed for any situation you may be in.
There you go. And then look us up. Give us a call. Give us a email or text. And we definitely want to earn your business. That's what we want to do. Okay. And that's kind of where we're at right now. So, hey, do appreciate you guys, and have a great day. Hey, and have a good weekend. Sunny skies here in Arizona. Yeah, this is nice. Okay. So, hey, you guys take care. Talk to you soon.